It was supposed to be the most magical night of her life. 17-year-old Emily had spent weeks picking out the perfect dress, rehearsing her makeup, and counting down the days to prom. Her mom, Lisa, watched with pride as her daughter twirled. In the living room, full of excitement and nerves, Emily left that evening with a smile on her face and a sparkle in her eyes, but she never came home. At first, no one panicked. Maybe she was at an after-party. Maybe her phone died. But as hours turned into days and Emily still hadn't returned, Lisa's worry turned into full-blown fear. The police were called. Friends were questioned. The school gym where prom was held was searched from top to bottom. But there was no trace of Emily. No texts, no calls, just silence. For 3 long weeks, Lisa lived every mother's worst nightmare. Posters went up, social media posts were shared, but each lead turned into a dead end. She refused to give up hope, even when it seemed everyone else had. Then, one ordinary afternoon, while running errands she could barely focus on, Lisa stepped into a quiet laundromat on the edge of town and froze. There, in the back corner, someone caught her eye. Her heart pounded. Was it really? Could it be Emily? Her breath caught in her throat as she moved closer, unsure whether she was about to wake from a dream or step into something even more terrifying than before. Lisa's footsteps were slow, cautious as she moved through the narrow aisle between humming machines. Her eyes stayed locked on the girl in the corner. She looked just like Emily's same long brown hair, same familiar way she hunched over with her arms crossed tight. Something was off. The girl's clothes were rumpled like she hadn't changed in days. Her face was pale, tired, and her expression empty. Lisa's voice caught in her throat. She whispered, Emily. But the girl didn't respond, didn't even flinch. Just as Lisa was about to step closer, the girl quickly stood, grabbed a plastic bag, and rushed out the back door. Lisa hesitated for a second before chasing after her, calling her name, but by the time she reached the door, the alley was empty. Only a puddle shimmered on the pavement, reflecting the overcast sky. Her heart raced. She knew what she saw. Hat. To be her daughter later that night, Lisa sat at the kitchen table, shaking hands, holding a half-full cup of tea. Why would Emily be hiding? Where had she been all this time? Nothing made sense. The police hadn't mentioned anything about a laundromat. Was someone keeping Emily from speaking out? Or was she running from something herself? Lisa couldn't shake the image of her daughter's face, the distant look in her eyes. That wasn't the same bubbly girl who left for prom. Something had changed. And whatever it was, it left more questions than answers. Lisa couldn't sleep that night. She kept replaying the moment at the laundromat over and over, questioning if her mind was just playing tricks. But deep down, she knew that was her daughter. The next morning, she drove back to the laundromat, hoping for a second glimpse, but the place was nearly empty. The woman behind the counter shrugged when Lisa asked about the girl. Lots of people come and go, she said. Didn't see anyone like that? Frustrated, but not ready to give up, Lisa started leaving flyers around the neighborhood, even slipping one under the back door where the girl had vanished. Later that week, Lisa got an anonymous text. No name, no number. Just 4 words. Stop. Looking for her. Her hands went cold. She showed the message to the police, but they brushed it off as a cruel prank. Still, Lisa knew better. Someone didn't want her finding Emily. Meanwhile, whispers started at Emily's school. A classmate admitted Emily seemed nervous in the days leading up to prom, always checking over her shoulder, staying late after class. Another mentioned seeing her arguing with someone in a black car outside school grounds. The pieces didn't fit together, but they all hinted at one thing: Millie hadn't just disappeared. Something had been going on long before prom night. Lisa felt torn between fear and determination. If Emily was in trouble, why hadn't she come home? And who was trying to keep her hidden? The deeper Lisa dug, the more dangerous the truth seemed to become. Lisa's search became an obsession. She quit her part-time job, stopped answering calls from friends, spent every hour following leads, most of which went nowhere. But then, one night while reviewing old security footage a gas station clerk had let her copy, she spotted something. It was grainy, but clear enough. Just 2 nights before prom, Emily was seen getting into a black car. Not a rideshare. Number 1 recognized the plates, but the man driving, his face flashed for just a second, wasn't a stranger to Lisa. He was an old friend of her ex-husband. Someone who hadn't been in their lives for years. Lisa's heart dropped. She hadn't spoken to Mark, her ex, in a long time. Their split was messy, full of secrets. But something about that man in the car brought it all flooding back. She called Mark, asking if he'd seen Emily lately. He denied it too quickly. His voice was tight, his answers clipped. When she mentioned the footage, there was silence on the line. The next evening, Lisa returned to the laundromat. A note had been taped to the back door. It simply read, "*Stop asking questions or you won't like the answers." Her hands trembled as she read it. Someone was watching her. Someone didn't want the truth to come out. But she couldn't stop now. Too much pointed to something bigger. Emily hadn't just run away, he was caught in something dark. Something Lisa was only beginning to uncover. And time was running out. The next morning, Lisa woke to a knock at the door. It was early, too early. She opened it to find a small envelope taped to her front step. No address, no stamp. Inside was a photo, blurry but unmistakable. Emily standing beside a woman Lisa didn't recognize, outside a rundown building Lisa had never seen before. Scribbled on the back were 4 chilling words. "You're looking the wrong way." Her mind raced. Had she been following the wrong trail? Was Emily not being held but hiding willingly? And who was the woman in the photo? Lisa drove straight to the police with the picture, but they offered nothing new. It could be doctored, they said. Might not even be recent. But Lisa refused to let it go. She ran the photo through a local print shop, hoping to trace the paper. One lucky break led her to a small motel downtown. The kind people stayed in when they didn't want to be found. Lisa checked the place herself. Room 17. The door was cracked. She pushed it open, slowly, empty. The bed was unmade. The air smelled like cheap takeout and cigarettes. But what she found next chilled her to the bone. A notebook. Emily's handwriting. Pages filled with strange messages, drawings, and what looked like code. At the top of one page, a sentence was underlined again and again. "Trust no one. Not even Mom." Lisa stood frozen. Something was very wrong. And now, for the first time, she wasn't sure Emily even wanted to be found. Lisa clutched the notebook, her heart thudding. Every instinct told her Emily was in danger, but the pages told another story. The codes were actually dates, times, and street names. Meeting spots, drops, and each one led to the same place, an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town. That night, Lisa drove there alone, parking far enough to stay hidden. She waited in the shadows, heart pounding, breath sharp in her chest. Just past midnight, a black car rolled up, the same one from the gas station footage. Lisa crouched lower as 2 figures stepped out. One was the man from the photo, her ex-husband's old friend. The other, Emily. But she wasn't afraid. She wasn't being forced. She was leading. Lisa's stomach dropped as she watched Emily hand over a small bag, whisper something, and then slip back into the warehouse. Moments later, Lisa quietly followed through a side entrance. What she found inside stunned her. A small group of teens huddled around a table filled with cash, burner phones, and documents. At the center, Emily stood confidently, giving instructions. Lisa accidentally kicked over a box. Heads turned. Emily froze. "Mom," Lisa stepped forward, voice shaking. "What is this? What are you doing?" Emily's eyes filled with tears, but her voice was steady. "You were never supposed to see this. I left to protect you." Lisa couldn't speak. And then Emily added, "Dad knew. Kay helped me disappear. But now, he's gone." Before Lisa could respond, the sound of sirens filled the air as the flashing red and blue lights painted the warehouse walls. Emily turned to Lisa, her eyes suddenly wide with panic. "You have to leave. Now," but it was too late. Police stormed in, shouting commands, and within seconds, the room was surrounded. Lisa dropped to her knees, arms raised, trying to explain she wasn't part of whatever was happening. She watched helplessly as officers handcuffed Emily and the others. Their operation exposed in seconds. Hours later, at the station, the truth began to unfold. Emily had stumbled into a trafficking ring online, thinking she was helping someone escape a dangerous situation. But it was a trap. By the time she realized it, she was in too deep. Instead of running, she chose to stay inside, gathering evidence. From the inside, using drop spots and coded notes, hoping one day to bring them down from within. Her father, Lisa's ex-husband, had learned the truth months earlier. He helped her disappear, helped fund her cover, but paid the price when someone found out. His death had been ruled an accident. Now, Lisa knew otherwise. Emily's brave actions had helped bring down a major criminal operation. She was placed in protective custody, and after months of legal battles, finally came home. Different, wiser, and quieter than before. Lisa stood at